to the points, I think where we're at today is, again, we're in the middle of the conversations asking or actually telling the competitors where our mind is. And the goal was, and has been for several years, but the goal is to have a more simple points system. If you look at all of motorsports and even other sports as well, it sometimes is complicated. Even for us, we have to occasionally go to the rule book and look at what position got what points. So the goal for some time has been to create a point system that is easy to understand, easy to explain, easy to be talked about, but also be credible at the end of the season. And so it's a function of taking the current one that establishes the criteria for the credibility because of its length of time we've used it more than anything, and come up with one that you can sit and have a conversation with someone and say, well, what do you think about this? And they sit there and say, well, that's pretty simple. So that the main goal is to get one that's just easier to understand and simpler. But you have to do that with credibility around the championship. And we're close to, and we're getting a lot of great input from the drivers about the tweaks that would go along with something like that. So it's actually been fun to work on. Well, I think they have a better understanding of what the rules are going to be than maybe the general public does to start with, because we've been having conversations with drivers and car owners since last summer about some of the changes that we're getting very close to and that you're hearing about in our conversations. And I think the credibility of our final decision is actually better because of the collaborative effort that we put into it today as opposed to might have happened in the past to get to the final decision, so that when the final decision is confirmed and NASCAR, who's the governing body and is responsible for making the final decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent, our appetite and our desire is to do it correctly and have one that makes sense and not just one that just for the sake of changing things. So we spend a good deal of time having conversations, and I think that actually helps our credibility, particularly in the garage area. And if you have it there, then that transfers out a lot quicker, a lot better. And so but the other piece of the start off of your question that I would remind everybody is that one of the things unique to NASCAR is that we've got 45 or 46 independent teams out here. We've got a host of independent track operators, where the other leagues they can get everybody together because the league owns the sport, and they all make decisions collectively together. We're a little bit more unique though. We got independent stakeholders, and I think in us wanting to do our job right and be good stewards of the sport and make good decisions for the entire industry, it takes us longer to go through the system and weigh out the balances between a conversation with, it might be a series sponsor, or it might be a group, it might be the racetracks, the promoters, or it might be the broadcast partners. And then certainly it's important to be hooked closely with the owners and the drivers because they're the ones that the other part of the delivery of our races on racetracks. So it takes us more time. Our system is just different, I think. The most important part is that it ultimately works and has credibility. And I believe that the way we do it now, the last 2 or 3 seasons, is more credible than us making a decision, telling the drivers before we walk in here and announce it, that here's what we're going to do, and they have no opportunity to ask us why we did it or any input in it. I think today's system works much better for everybody.
Is there enough time?
Well, as an older guy in this business, things move a whole lot quicker than they used to. And I think everybody's habits are a lot different than they might have been 10 years ago. So I think people digest things quicker. They get through the process of debate on things a lot quicker, and they absorb them a lot quicker, and they go on. The biggest thing is for us to make the correct decision that everybody in the garage area and everybody in the grandstand that understands that everybody has the same opportunity and are operating under the same rules. And that's I think the biggest step that we must take. And if it's a, I guess if the more time we leave a topic out there to be debated and discussed, the longer it takes to have a final answer. So there's a balance of getting the right answer as quickly as possible and going ahead and putting it out there, other than putting it out there for debate for 6 or 7 months, I guess. But I think that our fans, as long as we maintain the core elements of the sport, tweaking the points, tweaking the chase, tweaking different components in the sport, they're quick studies. And by the time we announce our final decisions and the time Speed Week opens up, in today's world, with all the opportunity to debate it and discuss it and to wash it out between all of our stakeholders, I think the season will start off with, okay, let's go.